Oh, hello there. Kind of caught me off guard. Welcome to another exciting episode of Knife Chats with Tobias. Well, I've added a few more knives to my tortoiseshell collection, and I wanted to talk a little bit about these knives specifically, and then I will put in a slideshow basically of the entire collection afterwards. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about imitation tortoiseshell versus genuine tortoiseshell and why I really like the imitation tortoiseshell. So let's go back about 117 years. That's right, all the way back to 1904. And a big event happened in the United States knife industry. Across the board, every knife company said, we will no longer produce knives with genuine tortoiseshell handles. And this was a voluntary step. It might have been some pressure put on by the U.S. government. I don't know for certain. And this move took place when tortoiseshell was probably at the height of its popularity. Just about everything imaginable was being put out in tortoiseshell. Tortoiseshell was just the item that everyone wanted. What most people don't know is that tortoiseshell did not come from just any turtle or tortoise out there. It came from one specific species, that being the hawksbill sea turtle. And by 1900, the hawksbill sea turtle had been hunted to almost extinction simply because of the demand for its shell. And so that basically led the United States knife industry to say, no more. We are not going to be responsible for the demise of a species. We are no longer going to use tortoiseshell for a handle material. A couple other countries continue to use it, but the U.S. knife industry stopped at that point. Matter of fact, the other industries in the U.S. continue to use it, especially in the world of musical instruments, because tortoiseshell made an excellent sounding board, and they also used it for guitar picks. But that even stopped in 1973, long after the U.S. knife industry said, no, we're not doing this anymore. And while celluloid had been around before the U.S. knife industry decided to go with this self-imposed ban on genuine tortoiseshell, it was soon after that they looked at celluloid as a financial alternative for tortoiseshell. It was going to be cheaper to use, which meant that they could actually lower the price on the knife and produce something that looked pretty close to the original tortoiseshell, and that basically is where the imitation tortoiseshell industry took off from. And over time, imitation tortoiseshell slowly went into other areas because of, it was a cheaper alternative to genuine tortoiseshell. And depending on the type of material used for the imitation tortoiseshell, was just as durable, if not even more durable, than the real tortoiseshell. And so in many ways, the knife industry led the way and getting the country moved off of genuine tortoiseshell, and may have actually helped save a species which is still critically endangered today. And so that's kind of why I like imitation tortoiseshell. It's got a great history behind it, and there's a lot of things going on with it that are specific to the knife industry. Okay, so let's talk about the knives that are in front of me here. This is the latest additions to my tortoiseshell collection, and I believe this is the last one I showed in a video, which was the elephant toenail. And since then I have picked up 3 more tortoiseshell knives. This one here is the RR511 elephant toenail. So you got the large Spearmaster blade and the secondary pretty big pin blade. Like pretty big? Yeah, 2-inch pin blade. That would be a master blade on just about any other knife, I think. This one comes in right at 3 7/8 inches long. After that, I came across this one. This is the standard Sunfish, the RR508, and it's got some really pretty color going in on there too. Again, just your big old blade there, your big old spear blade, and a big old pin blade on the other side here. And like I said, I think this one's 4 1/4, 4 1/8, something like that. Yeah, right at 4 1/8 inches long. And then finally, the last of the Sunfish, and this finishes off the Sunfish knives, or Sunfish elephant toenail knives that were in the Rough Rider series of tortoiseshell. And this is the RR507, and a little 3-inch jobber. And well, 3-inch knife with a main blade that is almost 1 5/8 inches long, maybe. No, more like 1 3/4 inches long. And then this wee little pen knife over here. Big fat little fella though. So definitely a great little box cutter though. And again, this is the RR507 Sunfish, or baby Sunfish. And then the biggie back here, that is the last one that I just recently picked up. And this is only the second one of these that I got, which I'm very upset about. I wish I would have been picking up these all along. This is the RR509 Deer Slayer. Would you look at the size of that thing? We're talking about big knife here. 5 1/2 inches closed. And you got a main blade here that I believe is 4 1/2 inches long or so. 4 1/4 inches, 4 1/8 inches long. So overall length on this thing is really monstrous when you get down to it. Would you look at that? That is the overall length on that. Over 9 1/2 inches long. And that is one pretty bad boy there. Now this one is not perfect. It's probably had a little too long on a shelf where there was not a lot of humidity. So one of the handles has slipped up a little bit because of improper storage. But I can deal with that. I will probably get some epoxy and get that pushed back down onto there and get it nice and sealed up again. But talk about some pretty colors there. And all of the Rough Rider knives that have the tortoiseshell, or most of them, they'll have the single ring on the bolster, top and bottom, and 440A stainless steel, the obvious acrylic tortoiseshell handle, nickel silver shield. The older ones will be a round shield. The newer ones will have a bow tie shield, but you have the brass liners going on with it, as well as, I believe, brass pins. Yeah, brass pins. But that's the latest one I got, the Deer Slayer. And man, this thing, it is smooth opening. Got one minor little flaw, but I can fix that. In any case, there you have it. Stick around for a slideshow of the entire collection to date. But these are the latest ones I got since I did that really long video a long time ago of all of my tortoiseshell knives. let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with Tobias. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up or that you know what. And also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.